here. Oh. Okay, so, let's see. Yes, thank you. It's a little chilly in here, isn't it?
Cold.
Yeah, it is. So thank you. Thank you, Ann.
Yes. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's cold.
No, you are not. All right, so peace is every step. All right, so when Chris suggested this book for us to study, it helped me to come back to some of the basics as to why I practice. I've been feeling a little, I hate to use the word stale lately, but kind of like my practices kind of come to an ebb. And so when I was assigned to read this and pick out something I wanted to talk about, what really felt like a breath of fresh air was to come across this section. Well, he titles the chapter Love in Action. Love in Action. Right, okay. What do we do in our everyday lives to that are function as guidelines to help us and protect us? As he says, several members of our community have been practicing the following principles. I think you may also find them useful in making choices as to how to live in our contemporary world. We call them the 14 Precepts of the Order of Interbeing. Okay. So, additionally, when I was doing some other research to support this idea, I came across this wonderful passage written by Norman Fisher. And why we need to sit zazen. So, they mesh so beautifully together. That's why I'm going to talk about both. Okay, so, Gretchen, could you please put up Norman's passage? And I'm going to have to stand up here. Well, could you pass those out, please? We're going to have a little take-home handout or two today. Okay. Just to give you some context here, he wrote this in 2017, which was a time of, I'm just guessing that it was a time that we were all feeling a little bit in a dark place because of the political situation. Maybe that's what gave rise to this, I don't know. But either way, oh, thank you, Susan. My goodness. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so why we need to sit zazen now more than ever. Our basic attitude in living is our basic stance or posture, the way we hold ourselves and the way we hold the variety of emotions and actions that pass through us in a lifetime. You could say it's an orientation toward life. I like that. So when you think of it this way, you begin to appreciate why, for Dogen, zazen is so important. He doesn't see it as a technique or as an exercise or even as religious observance. Zazen is literally an attitude. Zazen expresses human dignity and endurance. It expresses composure and patience. It expresses a full acceptance of whatever comes. So it's not a discipline. It's not something external or imposed. And that's important. It's an expression of our deepest human aspiration. It is a gesture of the heart. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I just love that. I just love that. And it ties in so beautifully with these 14 The 14 precepts of the order of interbeing. Okay. So Thich Nhat Hanh, in his book, The Path of Mindfulness in Everyday Life. So are you seeing the connection here? Yes, of course. And so how do we live mindfully? How do we live a life that acknowledges our interconnectedness, our interbeing? Well, here they are. So, Gretchen, would you, you one step ahead of me. Okay. You are. I'm so glad you're here. All right, so with these thoughts in mind, okay, here they are. Now, there's a lot to take in here. So I'm just going to go over them. Now, the Zoomers, for those of you on Zoom, I've made both of these documents available on our weekly newsletter. I put those as links. So if during your group discussion you need to look at these in more detail, you can maybe use a separate device or maybe take notes while we're speaking here. I apologize, but I think that might be useful. Or unless you have a very good memory, or you just want to talk about something completely different in your group. I don't know. It's up to you. Okay. So, all right. So, if we take a quick look at these, I'm just going to read the first sentence of each and you can get the main idea. And then, after we go over the first sentences of each, I'll give you a moment to really just like dive into it, read it at your will, and then we'll go into group discussion. Okay? So, the first one is, do not be idolatrous or bound to any doctrine, theory, or ideology. Oh, I just wanted, before I get into it any deeper, you'll notice if you study the precepts, a lot of the same things mentioned in the 10 prohibitory precepts that we study. And, but there are some that are a little bit different, or I would like to say in addition to what we've already studied in the precepts. And secondly, this book was written in 1991 or so. And later on, when he wrote his book about the Heart Sutra, he revised the 10 prohibitory precepts that left out this negative language. Instead of saying, do not do this, it was more like, here's what we do when we practice. If you are a follower of the way, this is how you practice. So even Thich Nhat Hanh evolved. You know, it's kind of interesting to see his own evolution. Okay, so back to the 14 precepts of interbeing. All right. So do not be idolatrous or bound to any doctrine, theory, or ideology. Number 2, do not think that the knowledge you presently possess is changeless, absolute truth. Number 3, do not force others, including children, by any means whatsoever, to adopt your views, whether by authority, threat, money, propaganda, or even education. Wow. Number 4, do not avoid contact with suffering or close your eyes before suffering. Number 5, do not accumulate wealth while millions are hungry. Doesn't that resonate? Yeah. Number 6, do not maintain anger or hatred. Number 7, do not lose yourself in dispersion and in your surroundings. Number 8, do not utter words that can create discord and cause the community to break. Number 9, do not say untruthful things for the sake of personal interest or to impress people. And number 10, do not use the religious community for personal gain or profit or transform your community into a political party. Okay? And number 11, do not live with a vocation that is harmful to humans and nature. Okay. Number 12, do not kill. Number 13, possess nothing that should belong to others. And number 14, do not mistreat your body. Okay, and that goes into sexuality. Excuse me, I'll be right back. All right, so I meant to hand these out before me. It's all right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Could you pass those around, please? Okay. 6, 7, 8. All right, Gretchen, would you pass those around? Pass that, please. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to read those over.
So, do you mind that still on the screen?
Yes, please. All right, and for our Zoomers, Gretchen's going to put back the...
It doesn't fit into one screen.
Okay, that's all right. For people on Zoom, maybe if you want to, like I mentioned before, take notes. Right then, oh, Ileana, you've got yours printed out? Thank you, all right. Take a few minutes. Sit with these. Okay, all right, so Do you need more time, or is that enough? It's enough?
Okay.
Okay, all right. So, and how about those of you online, on Zoom, are you good? Okay, thank you. Wonderful, all right. So, I would like you to get in groups of 3, and I'd like you to discuss anything that came up for you. It could be, maybe something to do with your personal life, or maybe something you read about in the news. But feel free to make this is going to just be wide open. And remember our connection to what Norman was talking about, how Zazen expresses human dignity and endurance, composure and patience, and a full acceptance of whatever comes up. So, tying these two together, what comes up for you? All right? So, we've got about, 15 minutes or so. And then we'll come back to the larger group and discuss. All right? So, let's begin.
Would you like to get